All right, let's talk about the grading system. So let me share my screen, and we've got two big parts, the homework and the timed quizzes. I'm going to start with the homework because it's a little bit easier to explain. We're going to be using Khan Academy. Each week we're going to have multiple assignments in Khan Academy, and then I will translate those into grades on Blackboard week by week. So we don't have any grades in yet, but let me just show you kind of what that looks like. It's faint, but it's not a big deal. Basically, what I'm going to see on my end is a bunch of columns of assignments and a bunch of rows of students. And I'm going to look at these and see if you got all the stuff, if you attempted all the assigned items for that week. And then I'm going to translate that into a check plus grade. And what I mean by check plus is if you basically do it, you get a check. If you get it all the way, you get a check plus. And then also, if you fall short, I'm also adding in the check minus. So if we think of these as being out of 5 points, doing all the work and bringing your assigned score up to 100% for all the assignments for the week, that gets you the check plus. Attempting all the work and bringing your score above 50% gets you a check. Attempting all the work but not pulling your grade up above 50% will at least get you a check minus, which is going to be half the value of the check plus. Anything short of that is going to be worth 0 out of 5. So if you don't do all of the assigned stuff, even if you got it perfect, that's just a 0. Do it all. Sometimes I'll assign videos and reading on Khan Academy, and they don't always get picked up well. I'm not going to be grading you on these. So if you've done all the stuff on Khan Academy, but it's showing that you didn't finish the reading, don't panic. The reading isn't directly impacting your grade. I'm assigning it because I think it's valuable, but I'm not grading you for doing the basic reading. Now, the timed quizzes are a little bit trickier. So the point of having these timed quizzes is so that we can have 15 things that are like an exam, but without all the overhead of a traditional exam. So first off, the way we're going to do this is rather than using a proctoring service, which is difficult and requires special equipment, and in every single class where I do this, I end up having to manually proctor a bunch of exams. We're instead going to try a different format. This format I am using in fall of 2020, and it's been working well. And basically that format is to have an open book test on a timer. So it's a strenuous test, and it's meant to replicate what an exam does in a regular class, which is gives a gauge of your mastery of the material in a kind of high-stress environment. Now, rather than do that for my traditional 1 midterm, 1 final, I'm going to do that in a small form 15 times over. So every module is going to have this high-stakes quiz. Now, Module 1 is not really going to be super high stakes. This is a freebie, but this is for you to work out the kinks in your system, to make sure that your computer's fine, to make sure that you know how this all works. So that basic format is going to be something like you've got a half an hour to answer maybe 2 or 3 or 4 questions. Typically, these will be calculated numeric questions. So I'll say something like, here is the supply and demand equations for some market. Tell me what the equilibrium price is. And then you have to figure that out, right? But you're going to have limited time to do so. So the other part of this is you go through that, you answer all the questions, you hit submit, or you run out of time and the quiz auto submits for you, right? So we're all on a time pressure here. And then once you're done, I want you to show your work for complete points. So what you're going to do there is you're going to load into the show your work section for the module right after you finish your quiz, and you will include any and all resources that you used. So let's say you found some useful thing on Wolfram Alpha. So you can go over to your history. You can load up the URL, which I shouldn't have done that way, but whatever. Grab that URL, put it into write submission, right? If that was something you used to answer the quiz questions, that is something to include in Show Your Work. If you did a lot of work on scratch paper, go ahead and just take a picture of that scratch paper with your phone, upload it to your computer, and attach that from here, right? However it is you get that. If you write an R script, you can do that. You can upload R scripts, you can upload Excel worksheets. This is no holds barred, except that it's independent work and you have limited time. Now, that sounds like a lot of pressure, and that's sort of the point, but this is a nice thing about having 15 of these is we can drop the low ones, so any one of these timed quizzes is low pressure. They're all strenuous, but each one on its own doesn't have to be a big deal. So if you do bad one week, it's not at all the end of the world. So the way I'm managing this is I am dropping your 5 lowest out of 15 quizzes. So really what you need to do is you need to get 10 good quiz grades over 15 possible quizzes. These 5 quizzes that I'm dropping, you can think of these as insurance policies. If something happens, if you have to take your car into the shop and you miss the deadline, something happens to a family member, or you just forgot, any reason at all, you get 5 freebies. Don't waste them, right? But these are there so that we don't have to worry too much about any one of these quizzes being a big deal. But they will be difficult. And that means that we're going to get something that is sort of equivalent to exams, but any one part of it is compartmentalized to not be too big a deal. And because we've got it set up in a way where it's just not worth cheating, you won't be able to cheat successfully without learning the material, we're basically making the platform go for it. The only way you can cheat on this quiz is to work with somebody else on it or to have someone else do it for you, which of course you're not going to do, but you can use your computer, you can use your calculator, you can use the internet, but you're going to have to use your underlying understanding to get the answers on time. As usual, if you've got any questions, let me know on the class Discord and I will be happy to clarify.